A witness at a coronial inquest into the of Queensland woman Doreen Langham, in an apparent domestic violence last year, says police failed her despite repeated opportunities to intervene and potentially save her life. Warning: this story contains graphic details that readers may find distressing. The 49-year-old from Browns Plain, south of Brisbane, in a unit fire believed to have been ignited by her ex-partner Gary Hely in February 2021. Both Ms Langham and Hely were in the fire. On the third day of a coronial inquest on the Gold Coast this week, the court heard from QUT Professor Kerry Carrington, who has researched gendered violence for 30 years. She was asked to review the Queensland Police Service's interactions with Ms Langham by State Coroner Jane Bentley. There was error after error. It was a calamity of errors, Professor Carrington said. I discovered there were 16 different police from 3 different stations that had contact with Doreen, all but one failed her. Professor Carrington said the police did not have the will, or expertise to respond to the woman's desperate pleas for help. Professor Kerry Carrington with Doreen Langham's mother outside Southport Magistrates Court. This is a systemic institutional issue. It goes to the core of police culture and police training, she said. Hely had seen a counsellor several times before the fatal fire. They misunderstood the law, they misapplied the law, they didn't understand what coercive control is. Ms Carrington suggested there were numerous times police could and should have intervened that might have saved Ms Langham's life. They misinterpreted there being a prowler at her home instead of a possible domestic violence issue, she said. They knocked once at her home on the night but didn't use search powers to see if Mr. Hely was in the yard. She was desperate, absolutely desperate. She was fearing this man was going to her. None of that got through to the police. Ms Langham had taken out a domestic violence order against Hely before her in February 2021, which he had breached numerous times, including making a threat to her life. She called police to her unit on the evening she was, fearing her ex-partner had again breached the order and was outside her home. Police officers outside the unit where Doreen Langham was. Police arrived hours later after attending another job, but left for a meal break after Ms Langham didn't answer the door. 4 hours later her home was alight, with the victim and Hely inside. Did everything she could to protect herself. During today's inquest, the court also heard from a domestic and family violence social worker who had been working with Ms Langham on her case. Social worker Ms Ilajasevich told the court Ms Langham did everything right to try to protect herself. She reached out numerous times to police, she engaged with specialist services, she did safety planning, she had safety measures added to her home, she said. And somehow that still wasn't enough. Domestic and family violence support worker Ms Ilajasevich. Knowing what I know now, I don't think I could have done anything different. I think we did everything we could. When asked whether she felt police attitude and culture responding to domestic violence incidents was part of the issue, Ms Ilajasevich agreed. I couldn't even count how many clients have their complaints dismissed, she said. They are blamed for what's happened, mistaken for the perpetrator because they are distressed while the perpetrator is cool, calm, collected. It's unfortunate because women reach out and they should be heard, feel safe and believed, but unfortunately what we see is that's not the case. She told the court, police often treat domestic violence breaches as minor if they don't involve physical violence, an issue she said needed to change. It's an issue that comes up quite regularly. If a breach is a text, call even, where there's 20, 50, 100, it's not deemed as serious as where there's been physical abuse or assault, she said. Capturing coercive control, still more needs to be done to identify that. It's a big risk factor. Councillor Chris Shikoto gave evidence on day 3 of the inquest. Councillor Chris Shikoto was another witness to provide evidence at today's inquest, detailing he had seen Hely for 4 sessions for relationship counselling. He revealed he had been verbally abusive with Doreen. He'd been name-calling. He indicated to me that he believed he might be falling back into past behaviours, Mr. Shikoto said. I felt there wasn't enough respect or equality within this relationship to conduct relationship counseling. I wanted to keep the focus on him, his behavior and his change, while he wanted things from her to change. The inquest will continue tomorrow and is due to finish on Friday. Body-worn camera footage of Hely in February before the incident.